Hi there, Miranda Alt here with Keller Williams Success Real Estate and the Miranda Alt team with your Monday market update for Monday, October 3rd, 2022. Happy October. It is officially fall. Thankfully, the weather's holding out. It's still pretty nice outside. So I'm going to hold on to the nice weather and be outside as much as I possibly can for at least the next few weeks. Hopefully, you're getting outside to enjoy some of this beautiful weather yourself. A quick look at your McHenry County forecast for the market for the last 7 days. We had 139 new listings in the last 7 days. 144 go under contract. Notice that discrepancy, still more going under contract than we had new listings. We had 170 closed sales. That's a big jump from last week. 60 price changes, still pretty significant. 48 currently on the private network, 2 expired. Now let's compare that to last year. This week, last year, we had 217 new listings. This year, 139. We are way down on new listings. Properties going under contract this past week. Last year, we saw 192 under contract. This year, 144. So pretty significant in that department as well. Mostly the reason we're having so much fewer homes closed and going under contract is we don't have the inventory. I think if we had more inventory, we'd see more numbers, more homes going under contract. We had 210 closed sales this week last year as opposed to 170 this week. We had 7 expireds, which was kind of high for last year, and 47 on the private network, which is about where we're at right now. So, like I said a few minutes ago, closed listings were way up last week, but still far short of last year. Listing under contract are following the same trends as last year, so they're going down. Last year they went down, this year they're going down, but a much larger discrepancy between this year and last year, these last 3 weeks, probably due to increasing mortgage rates. You might have heard that mortgage rates are upwards north of, some people are getting over 7. Most people are high 6s. But here's what's interesting. When I was calling people today, doing all my phone calls, the response to the 7% from a lot of people was, well, my first interest rate was 10, so that's still better than that. People have an incredible amount of perspective on these high interest rates, that they are still not as high as they have been in the past. And I know some people even told me, they said, you know, my parents still remember when they got their mortgage rate at 13%. So this is really not that bad. So people are definitely understanding that perspective is really important when you're looking at these interest rates. Now, that is not to say that it's not hard if you're currently locked in at a 2.2%. If you refinanced last year, it would be very hard to walk away from that. So not to minimize how high the interest rates are, because I know they are, and that's affecting a lot of people, but we just try to keep things into perspective. Other things, new listings were up slightly this week compared to last week, but still far below last year. We already talked about that. Rental listings saw a big jump this last week. I'm not sure if that's people just resigning to the fact that they're not going to be able to buy the house that they wanted, and so they're signing leases, but those numbers were up. Other things, the number of showings is down following the normal trend headed into our slowest selling season. So we are sort of on this, it's not terrible, but the rates are kind of, number of showings are kind of going like this. So part of that's due to inventory. We don't have enough homes to look at. So who's going to go looking at homes that don't exist or aren't on the market? So we have less showings due to that, but we also have less showings because we're heading into a time of year where we just see less showings. The people who are looking are people who have to move. I know all of my buyers right now, I've got someone getting divorced. They have to move. They have no choice. I have people who are, their homes are just too small. They had another baby and they have to get a bigger house. They just cannot live in the house that they're in anymore. They have to move. So we still have people experiencing these normal life changes that cause people to move, and those things are still happening. Duh. Other thing, sales prices saw a boost this week, with the average sales price going up slightly to $354,625. This is, again, all of this information that I'm getting is all from the MLS, from the MRED, the Midwest Regions data system. And so the average sales price for the northwest suburbs of Chicago, $354,000, as opposed to $343,000 this time last year. So still up about 11 grand, which is nothing to sneeze at. Still far lower than the peak average sales price of $414,363, which we saw the second week of June, which was a result of all those showings and all those bidding wars that we saw in April and May. So all those homes that sold in the second week of June were a result of that spring craziness that we saw. So that peak was 414 was the average then. We're now at 354. So that is a pretty sharp decline. Rental average prices are still significantly higher, with the average at $2,095 a month. And let's talk about interest rates. Don't forget, if you're renting, your interest rate is 100%. Let's not forget to talk about that. You are not paying principal on anything. Now, here's something I want to address. If you are watching the news, it's like the sky is falling. I talk about this all the time. The news is dramatic, right? And if I looked up this morning, I looked up on Fortune magazine, what is the real estate headline? The headline says, U.S. housing market to see the second biggest home price decline since the Great Depression. Is that alarming or what? Yes, very alarming. Anytime you hear Great Depression, you are thinking, oh my gosh, that's it. Everything's coming to a screeching halt. We are headed for some bad things. But if you read the article all the way through, there's some other information that they point out. Now, they do say that we are expecting to see, Morgan Stanley said this morning, U.S. home prices are projected to fall 7% by the end of 2023. Now, very last sentence that they put, oh, please say I can find it. Peak to trough, Goldman Sachs now expects U.S. home prices to fall 5% to 10%. That's a sharp downward revision from last month when the investment bank predicted that the U.S. home prices would rise. Now, here's something that they said. The silver lining on that is, where is it? What they basically said is that in comparison, it's a price correction. It is not that homes are overvalued. Prices are not going to tank. They said affordability came down. National home price declines. Oh man, where is it? This is what I get for not actually taking notes on what I read, but I just read this where they're actually saying it's actually not as bad as it sounds. What they're saying is that it's likely coming down from the peak. So we were overpriced. We saw a peak for a little while. Now it's a correction. And of course, even though prices are coming down, they are still 20% higher than they were in March of 2020. So let's keep this all in perspective. Prices are coming down from April of this year to the end of 2023. They will likely see a 7% decrease in prices, but that is still higher by 20% from March of 2020. So keeping things in perspective is really, really important. We don't want to forget those things when we're reading, especially if you're going to only read the headline. Make sure you end up going through and reading the whole article, because usually the headline it does its job. It's meant to draw you in. It's meant to get you to read the article, but it is not meant to be taken totally seriously. You have to read all the way through to find out what they're really saying. And what they're really saying is that prices are still up. You still have a ton of equity in your home if you're a seller. And if you want to move, if your home is too small, you need to move. If your home is too big, you should probably downsize. If you want to go be closer to your kids, I talk about this all the time. It's going to come down to your motivation. What's your reason for moving? If you want to move. It's still a good time. Okay. The real estate market is still on fire. I still have buyers that cannot find a house that they want to buy. There's not enough on the market. We still need more homes. So if you are thinking about selling your home, please, please, please call me. I have 5 buyers that I cannot find a home for. I've got buyers looking in Crystal Lake, in Cary, in this whole area. I've got investors looking for things to buy. So if you are wanting to get rid of your house, or you want to downsize, or whatever your motivation is, please give me a call. You can reach me at 815-529-0777, or of course you can always email me, mirandaaltteam@gmail.com, or message me here on Facebook or Instagram. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye.